Happy Saturday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Hunter Force here. Welcome to Hurricane Hub Live, where we track everything that's going on in the tropics every day at 8 o'clock. And there's an area out there that we are watching this evening. We've been watching it the last couple of days, and we even had two areas out there. But now that area further off towards the north, where this little yellow X is, no longer any issue, not going to develop into anything. So some good news there. But this area down here in the main development region, this is Invest 98L. Now, those chances of development have gone up as of the 8 o'clock advisory. Now, a 40% chance of development over the next 7 days, expected to continue off towards the west and head into the Caribbean as we head into the upcoming work week. So there was that low pressure system that had a small chance of development, but not much anymore. But down towards the main development region, we have this this tropical wave, an area of disorganized showers and thunderstorms, seeing some convection here, but it's not super well organized. But over the coming days, a chance it could get a little bit more organized. But there is some there could be some what's it called? The wind shear that could interfere with some of the development. And as we take a look at the spaghetti plot, this invest expected to head off into the middle of the Caribbean Sea by the time we get into Tuesday morning. So it's going to chug its way quickly, but it's not going to develop quickly, even though the waters here are very warm. They're in the mid to a few areas in the upper 80s. So the water isn't the issue. That is plenty warm enough for tropical development. But as we take a look at the wind shear, not a whole lot in the Caribbean Sea right now. A lot of it is further off towards the north, and you can see that here in the blues. But here in the Caribbean, things are looking good. There's the tropical wave, a little bit of wind shear there, and the tropical wave moving just to the south of that. But as we take a look over the next coming days, we could see more of that shifting down to the south, a little bit more wind shear developing heading into the weekend. And by the time we get into late Monday, a good amount of wind shear in the Caribbean Sea. And this is just about when that tropical wave is expected to enter this area. So that could hinder it from developing quickly and kind of have it meander, hang around, bring some rain showers to the islands and portions of Central America. But overall, not expecting to see, major developments in the beginning of the upcoming work week. There's kind of two scenarios that could happen, two kind of for now. Scenario one, where this enters the Caribbean as we head into the start of the work week, kind of meanders for a little bit and slowly makes its way towards Central America, kind of as a weak system, maybe a tropical storm, maybe just rain showers, and that kind of just gives some more rain for areas around Central America as we get towards the middle and end of next week and even into next weekend. But then there's also scenario two, where the wind shear doesn't really affect it, and the wind shear doesn't actually make it all the way down to this area. So this has the chance to develop, and then it gets kind of picked up by a trough and moved more out to sea. But this is where Hispaniola, so even around Puerto Rico, would have to pay attention. Dominican Republic, Haiti, all of those areas would see some effects if this was the case. So scenario two, stronger system, so more impacts for especially Hispaniola, but even, Puerto Rico, even around Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, they would all have to pay more attention to this scenario. So hopefully it would be scenario one, but still scenario two in play. Let's take a look at the European model, which is more scenario one. As we head into the start of the work week, tropical wave starts to enter the Caribbean. Not a whole lot going on through the entire work week. Bring in some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, but this is the end of next week. This is into next weekend, and you're still not seeing a whole lot. You're seeing a little something moving towards Central America, but that's about it. Bringing some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms, and then we're all the way to October 28th. And we're not seeing much development. It kind of gets squashed as it enters the Caribbean. But then as we look at the American model, the GFS, a bit of a different story. Slow to develop as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday. But then by the time we get into late Wednesday and Thursday, starting to see a storm forming here, whether it's a tropical storm or a hurricane. And then it gets kind of picked up and pushes off towards at least this model, taking it just to the east of the Dominican Republic, right around Hispaniola, in between Dominican and Puerto Rico, and then kind of shoots it off to sea. So that's just one possible scenario, but the European and the GFS not really in great agreement, which is unfortunate right now. But over the coming days, as this starts to develop, we'll get a better idea as once there's a low pressure system, an actual point for the models to hold on to, then we'll start to have a better understanding. The models will have a better idea of what likely will happen, and we'll even have a better idea of the setup of what's going on in the Caribbean. Is there going to be a lot of wind shear, which would help hinder it, or does it stay further up towards the north? That's something we're going to have to watch. But coming up on HHL, we'll have an update on the Eastern Pacific and Hurricane Hub Live trivia. That's coming up in a couple of minutes. Welcome back to Hurricane Hub Live. Let's take a look at what's going on in the Eastern Pacific. Luckily, it has kind of quieted down. That's some good news there. As we take a look at the tropical satellite, you're not seeing any tropical systems. We're seeing a tropical wave that has a small chance of development, but luckily we're not seeing any tropical storms or hurricanes out there tonight. As we take a look at this area here, there's a tropical wave off the coast of Central America, has about a 20% chance of development as we head into the next week or so, and that's going to continue to progress away from land. So if it does develop, likely to continue get further away from Mexico and not move up Baja California and just continue to head out towards the middle of the ocean. So some good news there. Let's take a look at Hurricane Hub Live trivia. What device is dropped into hurricanes to measure pressure, humidity, and wind? When the hurricane hunters go out and they fly into the hurricanes, they're dropping something into that hurricane that measures all of this information. Is it the hydroprobe, barosensor, the storm pod, or dropsonde? I'll have that coming up tomorrow on Hurricane Hub Live at 8 o'clock. And make sure to join us. We're here every single day to keep you updated. We'll see you then.